We're going to begin a series of short commentaries on a famous book called Zen Flesh, Zen Bones by Paul Reps and Nyogen Senzaki that was published in the 1950s. And in that book, one part of it is a whole series of anecdotes. And those anecdotes are taken from two sources. One from a collection in the 13th century called Sand and Stone, and the other is the authors just compiled a series of anecdotes from the early 20th century that were floating around in Japan. They just pulled them together and added them to the collection. So it's a mixture of 13th century koans, stories, and contemporary. So we'll begin commenting on them. So the basic book is Zen Flesh, Zen Bones, but this is a subset of that, the second chapter of it actually. Here's how the first one reads. A cup of tea. Nanin, a Japanese master during the Meiji era, that was at the end of the 1800s, received a university professor who came to inquire about Zen. Nanin served tea. He poured his visitor's cup full, and then kept on pouring. The professor watched the overflow until he could no longer restrain himself. It's full, it's full. No more will go in. Nanin said, like this cup, you are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup? And the cup, of course, that we're talking about is the cup of our own fixed beliefs. The cup of the filter with which we see all reality from. So when we're talking about fundamental truths, and people have very fixed beliefs that they have not examined, they don't hear. There's a saying in one of the Buddhist traditions that the secret teachings hide themselves. And they hide themselves, or we hide them from us, because we can't see the deep teachings of things because our mind is already so clouded, full of opinions. There's a saying in Zen called that is not knowing is most intimate. That when we have an empty mind, we can be curious. When we have an empty mind, we can hear what somebody is really saying. When we have an empty mind, we actually can be present without a barrier. So, to empty one's mind, to learn about the spaciousness below thought, to learn that we are not our thoughts, to empty one's mind, then we become a vessel of learning, of receptivity, of listening.